Dad had bought a shoe shop off an old gentleman here in town named Bob Crockett in July the 14th was Mom and Dad's anniversary, 1969. So I was 10 years old, fixing to be 11, but I was 10 years old, and Dad bought that shop just as a hobby because Dad was a radar technician at Perrin Air Force Base, and he had always kind of piddled with leather, making belts and billfolds and things like that. But he had put a set of half soles and heels on the day before. The old man showed him how to do it because Dad had to have them for the rodeo that weekend. So once he got through, he asked Mr. Crockett if he'd sell him that shop. Mr. Crockett said, absolutely not. And about a week later, Mr. Crockett called Dad and said, I want to sell the shop. So that was kind of a funny deal. So Dad had a little struggle buying the shop, borrowing the money because we didn't have much money. And so Dad got a loan. It was $1,000 for that whole shop. But that whole shop was about 12 foot wide by 14 feet deep. Well, I'd always worked in the shop. I'd actually built a couple of saddles by then. And about 3 months before I graduated, somebody was in the shop one day and they said, Mike, what you gonna do when you graduate from high school? I thought, I don't know, but you can bet your sweet bippy I ain't spending the rest of my life in a boot shop. I was 17 then, so be careful about what you say. Then whenever I went to bootmaking school, of course I kind of learned more of the panhandle, central west Texas style of bootmaking under Ted Truelove. And there was another guy there, was a program chairman, Bob Ross. And Bob's family was he was, I think, third generation bootmaker. And so I learned a lot from Bob also. And Bob actually taught the boot and shoe repair. And those guys together just, I don't know, we just kind of we just all clicked. And Ted became like a grandfather to me, and Bob was like a brother. I mean, I was 18 years old and Bob was 34. We thought he was an old man. But, you know, now as we got older, he's like a brother to me. He's still alive. Ted's passed on, and I miss him. But they kind of set the pattern for my style of boot because so many of the patterns I got was their patterns. So as I come home, you're in a different geographical region. Heel styles, toe styles change a little bit to fit the customer because it is a custom boot, so they can order what they want. So your customers kind of set your style because you have to change to build what they want. But as a basic rule, it kind of trickles down in generations of how the boot looks. Ted Truelove learned from a guy named Aubrey Duval and Henry Leopold. And Henry was very famous. Their family come down from Kansas as bootmakers, and he hit West Texas, and they all worked at shops all over West Texas in the Panhandle. And I've actually got a pair of Henry Leopold boots and a pair of Ted Truelove boots, and you can put my boots up beside them, and you can see the stair-stepping of the style has kind of stayed the same. And so if I taught bootmaking, I'd try to pass that along too. Now I've picked up a few things from other bootmakers, but you seem to just to try something different. But 98% of the time I go back to what Mike wants to do. I want to make Mike's kind of boot. I mean, this is a custom boot, and I'm supposed to be a professional because that's what my customers are paying for. So I don't want a boot made to look like it was made in somebody's garage. I want it made look like it was professional. Dad was always involved in a rodeo, and I always tagged along with Dad, whether I wanted to or not. I was always with Dad. So we shod horses on the weekend. I might just hold the horses for him, but he always made sure I had a horse and a saddle and all the gear and boots and hats that I needed. So lots of times if we'd go to Sherman or Gainesville or something, well, he'd load my Shetland up in the bed of the truck, and we'd get over there. Well, he'd just saddle my horse for me and turn me loose, and I'd ride all around the country while he was shoeing horses. All 2 or 3 years went by, and I started shooting handguns in a pistol match, and I did that for 38 years and never got on another horse for 38 years. And I guess in 2016, after a 38-year layoff, my friend Mark Richardson, who I grew up with, we used to ride horses together when we was kids. Mark actually built my boot shop, And he invited me on a cowboy camp out and trail ride. And I rode his wife's horse and his wife's saddle because I didn't have any of those things. And when my butt hit that saddle seat, I was 18 years old again. So I come home from that trail ride and I bought a horse, I bought saddles, I bought tack, I bought a brand new horse trailer and just went stupid about it again. Made myself some custom boots, ordered custom spurs, just loaded up on all the cowboy gear. I'm still not much of a cowboy, but I try to live the lifestyle and keep it alive. And I pretty much got to do that in this business because I've been in a boot shop all my life. And it's been a good life.